Hi, it is October the 16th, 2024. I want to let you guys know that freedom is going to happen. That all these attempts by these communists and by these other parties to control everything and everyone, they're all going to fail. Both sides of this U.S. political divide, both of these platforms are going to fail. Both of these ideologies are going to fail because the U.S. debt is unsustainable and there's no political will to reverse course. It's my opinion that it would be impossible to pay back the debt, that we need actual economic freedom to grow our way out of the collapse that's going to happen. We need real money. We need real production. And neither candidate's policies are going to get us there. Protectionism on one side is going to fail, and price controls are going to fail.
Oh, but they're not price controls. She's just gonna put a fine on the price gougers.
Yeah, if anyone was capable of bringing food to market at a cheaper price, they'd already have won the market. There's very thin margins in food production, and you're going to increase the cost. People are going to stop producing. You're going to have food shortages. So I hear all these fucking commercials about all the terrible things Trump's going to do, and too fucking bad. I don't want fucking food shortages. It's not complicated. These guys seem to think that by isolating themselves from people like me, that they're somehow gonna convince everyone else that they're right, except they won't, because eventually they're gonna run into me, or they're gonna run into someone else who understands economics, who's gonna tell them why they're fucking wrong. There's a reason this lady can't get any popular support, because she doesn't have any fucking solutions. But it's not just in America where the tyrants are going to fail. I mean, Israel's going to fall. I mean, the dollar's going to collapse. Do you know what that means? That means that the purchasing power of the United States government's going to collapse. That means that everything that they fund, they're going to become unable to fund, including the defense of Israel. And or joining Israel's offense against Gaza, the West Bank, Lebanon, Syria, Iran, any other places they decide that they're going to just try to instigate problems. And the smartest thing they can do is offer freedom right now, this moment, to every person on the Gaza Strip, every person in the West Bank, and frankly, any other fucking individual who wants to buy land and operate a business there. Competition over land needs to be through a fair bidding process and not through violence. People should have learned this after World War II when the nuclear bomb was invented. They should have figured out that violence wasn't going to be a viable long-term solution because the weapons are too strong. Iran tried to educate Israel by demonstrating that they could bypass their defenses and hit targets. They haven't attempted to give Israel everything they have yet. All they've sent is what they consider to be warnings. They've got allies in Syria, Lebanon, Egypt, Yemen, all over there, man. And the dollar's gonna collapse. So, for whatever reason, people have wanted to dismiss that idea. There's a lot of people who have these superiority complexes who just somehow believe that, like, God or well, I guess God is somehow gonna like step in and like do some kind of magic and just change the laws of reality, change the laws of economics. But God put these laws in place when he created this place, and the laws exist for a reason, because in economics eventually things correct. And when people act like shit, eventually it's not going to work out for them. There's going to be a lot of truth that's going to be exposed. In fact, it might be everything. Every harm, every cruelty, every deception, it's all coming out, dude. You can look at what's going on with Diddy. And a lot of people are worried, man. A lot of people are like, oh my God, they're going to take all of us down. And it's like, yeah, they are, dude. Because it doesn't matter if the entirety of Hollywood, the entire fucking music industry was involved. There are more bad people on this fucking planet who, when I say bad, I mean dangerous people who have a problem with pedophiles, then these people have the ability to defend themselves. And I don't care if they're in prison or out of prison. That remains true. It's one thing that just isn't going to work out for you if you choose to act in that way, or you've chosen to act in that way. If someone was involved with some of that kind of shit, smartest thing they can probably do is help themselves out of this world before those dangerous people get a hold of them. Because I don't know if the things those people do to the pedophiles will be worse, or the things the Muslims do to the Israelis will be worse when their defenses fail. But I sure as shit wouldn't want to be either on the receiving end of either of those punishments. I guess no one's interested, right? No one's curious. I bet easier just not to listen to me. Easier to just assume I don't know what I'm talking about, I got an A+ in all the economics classes I took in college. I mean, I was top of the class. I had a 4.0 GPA in my undergrad in business school. I have spent most of my adult life learning about financial matters, economic matters. I guess people just really don't want me to be right, you know? So people are going to get what people are going to get, man. All I've been doing is trying to save people, man. All I've been doing is trying to be compassionate and let people know that the bond market is unsound and the currency is unsound, and you need to reckon with that reality. You need to protect yourself on an individual level, and you need to stop relying on governments for whatever you're relying on them for. A lot of people seem to not like me. People really seem to like holding on to grudges and resentments, but it's a spiritual sickness. I've heard it said it's like eating poison, hatred. It's like eating poison and hoping that someone else will die. All this vengeance. If you're talking about vengeance, you're talking about hatred. You're talking about resentment. You're talking about an unfit spiritual condition. You're talking about contradicting the commands of Jesus Christ if you're a Christian, the commands of God if you're a Jew, who said, "Thou shalt not kill." Compassion. Doesn't matter. I mean, Buddha talked about compassion. It should be a common thread. It should be universally acknowledged as an ideal. Yet, people continue to talk about how much they hate other people and keep trying to do everything they can to make those other people suffer. And we sure do have a lot of suffering. But hatred will not win, because hatred is stupid. Because when people hate other people, they don't listen to those other people. They don't learn from them. They don't try to step into their shoes. They don't try to understand them. They don't try to understand their experiences. They don't try to understand why they believe what they believe. Their experiences, why they've made the decisions they've made. And because they don't try to understand any of that, they operate with just a little pinhole view of reality, and they don't inform themselves. Win-win solutions. That is what we should seek. Different people want different things. We should seek to come up with solutions where people can negotiate and come up with agreements where both parties are satisfied. That's what freedom's all about. That's what free markets are about, and that's what governments prevent to a great extent. But we are at a phase of our development as a species where peace is the only way that we can survive. And freedom is the only way we can have peace. So, freedom's gonna win, because ultimately the haters, they'll fight, they'll hurt each other, they'll do it as long as they can, but ultimately they're stupid. Ultimately they're reliant upon a government to pay for their hatred, to fund their wars, to fund their imprisonment of people, to fund all the other cruelties that governments partake in. But that purchasing power is going to go away. And if they hadn't been so full of hatred, so committed to dehumanizing people like me, who would have informed them that this purchasing power was going to go away, then they wouldn't be promoting these stupid ideas, because they'd understand there was a better way. We'd have had freedom long ago, and all this suffering would have been avoided. There are good people in this world, and even though it seems like a minority, especially here in America, especially in the places I tend to frequent, compassion's gonna win. Love's gonna win. Freedom's gonna win. We might get beaten up a bit more before we win, but you ain't gonna kill us. I mean, you could kill me. I don't know if you could keep me dead, because there's powers in this fucking universe, man. But you can't kill freedom. You can't kill my ideas, because they're grounded in reason, and because I'm not the only one who understands economics. I mean, it might be ugly. It might not be the smooth transition that I kind of am trying to propose in my book. We might see a big collapse first, and isolated regions becoming free, and then eventually rebuilding a bigger thing. But anyone who's not free, any area where they're continuing, there's going to come a point where it's the only option for survival. And when we get to that point, I think people, just from a purely selfish motive, even if they still haven't become intelligent, still haven't become kind, they will go for freedom, just for self-preservation, just as a selfish motive. And if they don't, they'll perish. And then once they have, we'll be free, or whoever's left. And the people who've prepared, most of the people who support freedom are the most prepared people for the collapse, because we've understood we've needed to. So it's going to happen, and people just got to figure out what they need to do with that information.